What if I told you a violent man, who used his fists and lies to crush everyone around him, was slowly stripped of every single thing he owned, until the only asset he had left was an old, smoke-belching truck? And what if the lawyer who ruined him watched his final walk of shame from 15 stories up, sipping coffee? That lawyer was me. If you've ever wished abusers would face the justice they deserve, hit that like button right now. Because today's story is about a wife beater named Joe, and how I made sure he never laid a hand, or a lie on anyone again. Joe thought he was untouchable. He beat his wife, bullied his business partners, and lied his way through life. When his marriage ended, he walked away free. No child support, no consequences. Violence and deceit had always worked for him. I wasn't his victim. I was his enemy, his ex-brother-in-law's lawyer. My client, the brother of Joe's ex-wife, was also Joe's former business partner. Joe owed him more than money. He owed him justice. Joe swaggered into court like he owned the place. He lied under oath, rolled his eyes at the judge, smirked at me across the table. But I had facts, paper trails, evidence. And when the gavel came down, Joe didn't just lose, he lost big. The judgment against him was far more than he could pay. I tracked every hidden asset, every shady company, every account. One by one, I took them. Joe panicked. He tried to hide property under numbered corporations. He tried fraudulent transfers. But I was patient, methodical, relentless. Eventually, Joe had only one asset left, a rental property. He lived in the unfinished basement, surviving off the rent from tenants upstairs. He cashed their checks at payday loan shops just to keep me from garnishing his bank accounts. For a while, he thought he had me fooled. But my investigator followed him home one night, and the game was over. I pierced through his fake companies, tore down his lies, and claimed his last house. One day, Joe left for cigarettes. By the time he came back, the sheriff had changed the locks. He begged to be allowed to keep living in the basement. I told his lawyer. Asked the new owner. The new owner, of course, was one of my client employees. Joe was out on the street. All he had left was his rusted old pickup truck, too worthless to seize. So he lived in it, until the day he made his final mistake. Blinded by rage, Joe parked that truck across the driveway of the house he no longer owned, blocking the tenants in. They called me. Within hours, a tow truck I'd arranged whisked away. His lawyer phoned me, furious. "You can't keep his truck." I said calmly, he had no right to block a man's driveway. The next morning, I stood at my office window, 15 floors up, coffee in hand, watching as Joe walked out his lawyer's office. There was his truck, parked right below me, filled up, oil change, keys waiting. His lawyer called again, seething, "Why didn't you tell me it was right outside?" I replied, "How careless of my bailiff. Tell your client to take it and drive. But if I ever see that truck again, I'll seize it." A few minutes later, Joe climbed in, but this wasn't the swaggering man I once faced in court. His shoulders sagged. His step was heavy. The fight was gone. From my office window, I watched him drive away, his truck belching smoke like a dying beast. Everything else, his homes, his money, his pride, was gone, and the only reason he had that last scrap was because I allowed it. Justice doesn't always come with handcuffs. Sometimes it comes with paperwork, patience, and persistence. Joe lost everything, not because of violence, but because the law finally caught up. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and subscribe for more real tales of justice served. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen?